afternoon, everybody. I hope you all are having an amazing day. I know I am. I'm here for your lunch and learn. So grab your snacks, grab your lunch, grab whatever that you're eating, and let's learn, right? Let's learn while we're snacking on that salad, whatever it is that you enjoy snacking on for lunch. For me, I tend to have maybe some salad, right? Some grilled chicken. I've been on this really big health kick. I have a PT test coming up. For some of you all that have been following me on my stories, I have been posting it because for me, it's another level of accountability for me to post it on my story. So I have been journaling my process and ensuring that I'm prepared also as a leader. So for many of you all, I serve in the United States Air Force. So it also is a requirement for me to ensure that I maintain a level of readiness. So I have been ensuring that I maintain the same level of, if I'm going to expect my team to show up a certain way, I have to make sure I maintain that same level of execution, those skills, abilities, right? And fitness is one of those things that is important that I maintain, right? I have to make sure that I am ready in those areas. So for me, myself and I have been ensuring that I am meeting all the requirements and I need to make sure I maintain in order for me to basically practice what I preach. So I have been really, really hitting some awesome targets, and I'm really excited because, again, I think that as leaders, we need to be able to practice what we preach. Let's get into it. So if you've been following me, we have been having a conversation about the stages of team development. And the reason why I think this conversation is so important is because there are some areas that a lot of leaders tend to miss in developing their teams. And if you want to have that high performing team, you need to make sure that you are hitting on some key areas as you go through these stages of team development. We have been utilizing some videos throughout these conversation to really show you how this looks in different capacities. So I want you all to realize how important it is that you all are ensuring that you are following these steps and ensuring that you're maintaining these steps and you are applying them, because if you don't, you're going to find yourself really struggling in some key areas in managing a team, developing a team. And I really want you guys to ensure that you are really being intentional in how you manage your team. It's really a strategy. So I just finished a class in my master's program, and it's actually called Strategic Leadership. And what I've loved about the class is how it's really walked you through the process of utilizing strategy and leadership. And it's had a lot of business components and entrepreneurship components to it. But the reality is, by being more strategic in how you navigate leadership and really considering it, you'll start to see that by planning and taking time to really be by taking time and planning out how you navigate leadership, how you navigate being or having the competitive edge in your business, in your corporation, in your department, you'll find yourself really leading effectively in the different areas that you are leading in. If you are the CEO, if you are, a department lead, wherever you're leading in, making sure that you are executing in those different areas. Strategy is what is behind that. All right. So I'm really excited about this conversation because, again, we have been breaking down each area, and today we're going to go over each specific area in detail, or we're going to do an overview, but it's still going to be in detail so you can really ensure that you're doing your part to execute effectively as a leader that is aiming to build a team. So maybe you're a brand new leader and you are looking to build a team. This is applicable to business leaders as well. You have to realize that the foundation of your success is your team, right? We're always looking and searching for resources, financial resources. We want to get to the next level. So as you're getting to the next level, you're going to require a team of individuals to support you in pushing that mission and vision. So that's going to be extremely important. But you too need to know how to support them. You need to be able to know how to guide them in this process and really effectively lead them throughout this process. And also utilize the leaders that you put into place and be able to develop them as well. So all these tools are going to be able to help you in that process of navigating team development so they can execute and execute at a high pace, at a high level. So not only do they have a level of commitment and loyalty, company loyalty, but they also, again, are producing in a way that gets you to that level where your company, your organization is that industry leader. So all of this is extremely important. All of this is extremely important. So get your pen, get your paper. We're going to get into this in depth. So if this is your first time on here with me, and maybe this is your first time on one of my lives, hello. Nice to meet you. I'm Aisha Thomas. I'm an organizational development, learning and development and leadership consultant. So I focus on making your organization, your business, the big picture in developing that area, but also developing your leaders and your team as well. All right. If you want to reach me, that's my website information, email, social media, but we'll get into that later. So hello, nice to meet you. Welcome, welcome. And for those who have been faithful followers, hello again. All right. So let's get into the meat and potatoes. Right. Again, we're talking about and we're focused on back into the office because many of us have went back into the office and we are in the rebuilding phase. I've been sharing this over and over again, but again, for the new folks, there have been conversations of how individuals have went back into the office and they feel like, man, I felt like we were strangers all over again. I kind of got accustomed to working from home. And it was like getting into a new flow of working with everyone again in the office. It was different. It was different having to, have the team member working in the next cubicle or having people walk into my office and having distractions and working on that interpersonal connectivity again. It was different. And I struggled, or we didn't know how to connect again. And I need to rebuild that connectivity again. Or they're individuals starting to balance working from home as well as working in the office. But there's like a whole new rebuilding process. There were leaders that were trying to navigate, how do I develop and connect with my team members virtually? This is new to me. So you might be in the rebuilding phase. Maybe you are building a team from scratch, but either way, this information is applicable to you. So we're going to overview those processes through the 5 stages of team development. But one of the things that I really wanted to highlight before we get into it, I want you guys to really understand how important this is, because leadership is evolving. Leadership is evolving. And my question to you leaders is, are you evolving with it? Leadership is evolving, but are you evolving with it? Leadership is evolving, but are you evolving with it? So in Management 2.0, it states, leaders will no longer be seen as grand visionaries, all-wise decision makers, and iron-fisted disciplinaries. You will no longer be those iron-fisted disciplinaries. Instead, they will need to become social social architects, constitution writers, and entrepreneurs of meaning. In this new model, the leader's job is to create an environment where every employee has a chance to collaborate, innovate, and excel. That's so powerful. This is talking about change. And that's where you're talking about organizational development, really ushering in the change from the top on down. So while as leaders, we're aiming to change, everyone else around us, we need to also be open to change. So while I am discussing change from our teams, we need to also be able to evolve and change and recognize that leading a team requires us to evolve and recognize that collaboration is important. Being a social architect is important, right? It's important that we are also being innovative. We need to be able to really ensure that we are considering bringing in and being more inclusive and ensuring that the ideas, the input, the perspectives of our team members are welcomed. because they too have some awesome ideas and input that could really support us hitting those goals, that can really support us getting to that area of competitive edge. So are you doing the work of transitioning from, that mindset of being, top down, or are you really focused on becoming that collaborator, that innovator? And thinking from the perspective of, again, it says where every employee has a chance to collaborate, innovate, and excel. Coaching, developing. Are you evolving as a leader? So make sure that you're taking time and developing yourself. And that's why I always say individuals don't typically quit the organization. They typically quit the leader. And that's why you need leadership development. So remember that. All right. All right. So let's go over this overview of the stages of team development. So we had these 5 stages, and I actually want to also throw in this last one as well, because again, we go through these stages over and over again. So first, let's talk about the forming stage. The forming stage is when you first have your team, and teams are constantly being formed. People are leaving and going and so on. So this is where team members are optimistic and make an effort to get to know each other. You have a brand new team. They've come in and they're excited, right? They're supportive. They're ready to go in. They're ready to push through. They're ready to come together and collaborate. What are we going to do? What is the mission? What is the vision? Let's go in and get it, right? And in this phase, it's so important that we are discussing goals, vision, individual goals, individual vision, how each puzzle piece plays upon each other, meaning, okay, this is how this department works with this department, or this is how this team member works with this team member. Have each other understand how their role, responsibility plays into the big picture. Because yes, it doesn't matter what you do. Each role in that organization, in that business means something. So in this process, you should be directing the team and establishing clear goals for the team as a whole and for individual team members. Have you done that? Have you done that? Have you taken time to do that? You might have said, yeah, of course. I posted the job ad. They apply for the job. I've given them the job and the job skills or what they need to do. I've given them their position description. I went over it. I'll go over it again in a year when we have our sit down, our evaluation. But it's really, again, that strategic process of sitting down, discussing it, and really talking about it. So in the forming stage, are you in that forming stage? So this is, again, giving direction, establishing clear goals for the team as a whole, and then for the individual. So it's going to require you to have multiple conversations. But again, we're on the path of developing a high performing team. So that's the first stage. Now, the second stage that most of us don't like is the storming phase. Oh my goodness. This is the stage that many of us went through when COVID hit. This is the stage that many of us have gone through because of just a multitude of things. I went through that recently because we had a bunch of shifts in our organization and within our team. People were sick. People just navigated a bunch of different things. But storming phases happen a multitude of times. And these stages again, happen over and over again. People begin to push boundaries and conflict arises as members question goals and tasks. Why are we doing this? Like they might see some breakdowns in the company. They might see breakdowns in the organization. Again, if we're not evolving as leaders, they might be like, what? You're still using the paper format or what? That's not working. They're bringing in their talents, their gifts, their skills from maybe another organization, or they're just really talented and they're just seeing a lot of breakdowns. Maybe there's some conflict within, but they start to question things. So now as leaders, we really have to dial in. We can't just sit back and let it happen. We really have to dial in during this time. We're hands-on in the forming stage. We're hands-on in the storming phase. So in this process, you need to make sure that you're establishing processes and structures, build trust and good relationships between team members, resolve conflicts swiftly, and coach team members in conflict resolution skills. Remain positive in the face of challenges to your leadership or the team goals. So there's a level of woosah that you need to have. So there's some work that you probably have to do behind the scenes to make sure that that positivity shows up when you show up. Because again, that is a stressful time for you as well. And that's why leaders on our end, we're developing on our end, we have those pockets of resiliency and support that we have behind the scenes. So when we do show up, we can really show up for our team effectively. So make sure you're practicing that. You know, they talk about self-care. It is important that we're doing that leadership care, right? And I'm a big proponent of self-care. So I talk a lot about resiliency and so on. So make sure you have that behind the scenes. But in this, again, you're hands-on, you're supporting, you're resolving conflict, you're coaching members, you're asking questions, you're collaborating. Remember what I discussed prior about collaborating, having those discussions. Why doesn't this work? How can we support you? Talking out those, having those individuals talk out those issues, coming up with a solution. If you find that conflict, or when you're having those conversations that individuals are talking about the problems and negative, right? And it's just staying in that negative space. And it's okay. Allow those team members to discuss the issues. But now let's talk about solutions. Let's talk about solutions and how we can get to a resolution. Let's implement it. Let's come back. Let's see what worked. So again, you're hands-on. It's not just one and done, I'm done. Okay, how are things going? Checking in with each individual, checking in with that department, checking in with that leader of that team, and so on. And again, trust is built because they see that you're invested in their growth, their development. They see that you're invested in getting them beyond the storm. And I shared this last time that we know that the storm season comes in every team building phase. So what you're getting now is the tools to storm proof. Whenever the weather man comes and tells us that's going to be some type of storm, we go and we purchase all these things at the grocery store, some things that we don't even need to purchase. We just buy extra, right? And then you get to the store and you're like, why ain't no water? I have to go to 5 stores because you guys bought up all the water. But it's okay. It's in preparation. So this information is preparing you for the storm, but it's preparing you for, again, that building phase of that high performing team. So that's what you need to do in the storming season. The next phase is the norming. Now things have cooled off. The storm is over, right? The sun is out. Now there's a level of normalcy that's happening. Differences are resolved and respect is built for the team leader. And note that if you lose people in the storm season, that is okay. It happens. It's okay, right? But just make sure you're invested in the growth and development of the team and really ensuring that they get to the other side. Again, I said before, storms make or break teams, but we are maker of teams, not breakers of teams. All right. So difference are resolved and respect is built for the team leader because we've been invested. So in here, you step back and help team members take responsibility for progress toward goals while focus shifts to building team cohesion. Let's keep that connection, keep checking in, keep supporting. Now we have normalcy. We're going to keep that ship moving. And you're going to continue to check in, keep making sure that the goals are clear. You might see some new leaders start to stand out. So continue that traction. And now you're going to move and see that you're getting to the performance stage. High performance, y'all. See, you see how that builds? Now we're getting to the performance. Team goals are successfully achieved without conflict, and the leader is able to delegate more to focus on development. Now you can be more hands-off. As you can see, you were in a season where you had to be more hands-on. Now you're more hands-off. You can delegate more. Again, new leaders are starting to stand out. Now you can focus on development. Now, okay, I noticed this person is standing out as a leader, or this person needs development in this area. Let me start to work on this. Let me start to develop a plan and really start to hone in on how I can really ensure this person is awesome in this area, how now they can get from this tier to this tier. So delegate tasks and projects up and down so you have as light a touch as possible. Delegation. And I made a post before that talks about the reason why a lot of leaders are overwhelmed is because we lack delegation skills. The reason why we have a team is so we can be those visionaries, so we can really start to focus on the next plan, the next goal. So make sure you're delegating, make sure you're tapping into your team. And again, if you're following this process, you are going to get to the point where you can do that. Use this extra time to focus on that development, associate, that team member development. It's so important that you're doing that 100% because you've gotten through the sticky season. All right, let's develop. Let's get you to that next level. Let's get you to that next tier. And then there's the morning phase. This is the phase where team achievements are celebrated, but also because we want to celebrate the wins. We want to make sure we're celebrating the wins all throughout. Good job, right? They say praise in public and admonish behind the scenes, right? But praise, supporting, good job. I appreciate you all. We want to make sure that we're doing that. We want to make sure we're focused, hyper-focused on identifying what our team members value so we can customize their, they talk about love language, but we need to customize how we show that support, how we show that appreciation to our team members. But also in the morning phase, we might have, now we've developed that team member and now they're ready for a leadership role. Maybe they transition to another organization. So it's like, we're celebrating achievements, but maybe this person has left. And now we have to, now maybe you're taking on additional tasks and now you're going through the cycle all over again. Maybe you're going through you're back to the storm phase. So recognize that there is a season of excitement and of joy, of celebration, but you might have to go all the way back a couple of notches because someone has left. But you want to celebrate the fact that you were able to get to this point. And now you really have a solid plan and you are a leader that knows how to develop a high performing team because you have been strategic in that process. You have taken time to work with your team through each one of these phases. And a lot of leaders, we get so hyper focused on execution on the external, and we forget about executing on the internal. I always share that we have both an internal customer and an external customer, and we need to focus on our internal customer, our team members, just as much because they are so pivotal in getting us to those goals. They are just as important to the customers that we bring in. So the more that we are strategic, the more that we support them, the more that we can see them. Again, you'll see more company loyalty, retention, and support. So make sure that you are doing that. Make sure that you are hitting on each one of these effectively and really taking the time to be strategic in how you navigate each one of these because you are in one of these seasons. The question is, how are you navigating each one of these seasons as a leader? So my question for you is, what stage are you on? Do you know what current stage you are on? Ask yourself that. What stage am I on? So reflect on your team and identify what stage are you on? The norming, storming stage? Are you in the morning stage? What is it, right? Because now you'll know what action steps to go about in executing, right? So go back on the notes and look at, okay, what stage am I on and how can I now utilize that with how I navigate it? If you don't have a team, reflect on the stage, the group you basically just pretend and identify like what stage you are currently on, or if you don't have a team, just think about maybe going back to someone that you know and identifying like, okay, what stage are you on? Let's talk that through because maybe you know somebody that is navigating a stage, right? So just go through that process and really think about it, or maybe think about, okay, if I was in a foreman stage, what that would look like, right? So when I talk about like go back to and identify like maybe a group of people or someone that you know and ask them and identify, you know what, if you have a team, like what stage are they on? So maybe share the information with them and to have this conversation with them and really like have a good discussion about this because this is helping you prepare for when you do have a team. And lastly, how is this information beneficial in developing team dynamics and cohesion? Ask yourself that. How is it beneficial? How will it help that overall process, right? And that's important to know as well, because each one of these steps is going to be important in retention, again, company loyalty, in building trust, building that effective communication, and really helping you, again, get to that high performing team process and high performance that you're looking for, which means, again, now you're going to reap that industry success that you're looking for. And of course, if you want to reach me, I can be contacted in multiple ways, right? My website, aishathomas.org. You can contact me via email, info@aishathomas.org, or follow me on social media, right? You're here now at Miss Aisha Thomas. I'm on all platforms, so please follow me on there. If this information was beneficial to you, make sure you share this on the different platforms or to other leaders who you think it will benefit. And again, I really, really appreciate that you guys have spent some time with me. I want to go back again to that other slide that we talked about, because again, I think it's so important that we discuss this factor again, right? As leaders, we have to make sure that we are in the process of evolving. It says in this new model and how we're seeing and the way that leadership is going. It's not about just being these grand visionaries, these wise decision makers, right? We're just sitting at the top. It's about now creating environments where every employee has a chance to collaborate, innovate, and excel. So when we talk about inclusion, right, it's so important that we are making sure that collaboration is a part of how you lead, and supporting your team in those capacities is embedded in how you lead. All right. So I want you to commit to that, because it's highly important that you're committing to that as leaders. All right. So remember, again, I keep saying that individuals don't typically quit the organization. They're going to quit you as a leader or the other leaders that are within that organization. So we need to do better to make sure that we're doing our part to support our team members. All right. So I hope you guys benefited from this information. Make sure you contact me if you have any questions or concerns, need any type of training or support. And you all have a good afternoon. And I hope you enjoyed your lunch. All right. Have a good day. Bye.